Today on Life of Dad, we're talking about, do you bribe your kids to get good grades and depression? Here on Life of Dad, we discuss two topics on each episode, one heavy and one light. The dads will keep on talking until the bell rings. When the bell rings, they switch to the other topic. And then at the end, somehow, it all ties together. Okay, the heavy topic is depression. The fun, interesting topic is, do you bribe your kids to get good grades? David, we're going to start with you. Either topic. Let's go.
My family's from Chicago, so we're big believers in bribery. I'll bribe
and depression.
Exactly. I think it works. My son's last year at his elementary school, the last time they were both going to be at the same elementary school for a long time, I wanted them to sing this song together in the variety show from the Muppets.
Yeah.
And they were both like, no, we're not going to do that. And so I had to get Chicago on them. And I was like, you're doing this. And either I'm going to kill you if you don't do it, and I will bribe you if you do it, right? I'll buy you something special. And it worked, you know?
Yeah.
It got results, so I'm going to stick with that.
We haven't bribed for grades per se, but we're definitely guilty of little treats to behave well on an airplane. And I shouldn't say guilty. I'm happy that we do it, or little things. But my issue is sometimes those little things lead to bigger gifts, and then suddenly you're all right. Depression, Josh.
Only a minute.
About you, about someone you know, about in general.
It's weird. I talked to a psychiatrist and I asked him like what he described for me like what depression actually is, and because I just thought like, oh, I'm feeling blue, but really it's like a deflating of every sense that you have is what I found out, and it's like you're living in a vacuum almost. I don't know if I've ever experienced that myself, but I lived with and grew up with, and I'm around a lot of depressives.
Sure.
And just know the signs, I guess. I don't know. I can spot this like kind of a mile away.
Yeah, I haven't. I guess I've had depressions through certain things. Like we had a really bad real estate situation a bunch of years ago, bad investment, and I lost a ton of money on it. So that was like a short-term depression. More later. What's the other topic?
Bribery.
Oh, bribery. Oh, yeah. So I started to say, all right, so yeah, sometimes these small gifts will turn into big gifts, and then there's like the kids are expecting a Lego set for finishing their lunch, right?
Yeah.
Kids are master negotiators.
Yeah.
They always start with the highest bid. It's like Great Wolf Lodge. Like, I'm talking about finishing a donut, dude.
Right.
And you're talking about the lodge, dude?
Yeah.
No. Get back down to...
I mean, and I'm guilty of it today. I told my kids this morning, again, my wife's out of town. I said, I'm doing a podcast tonight, and they're like, we want you to put us to bed. And they're like, but we have those Legos in the house that we haven't opened the box yet, and we've been waiting for a special occasion. And I was like, all right, fine, you can have them. So they literally got a gift for being at home tonight. So
see, just
totally
outmaneuvered you, dude. You just got played.
Yeah.
Master negotiators.
Badly.
Yeah.
All right. Depression, you want to go? Or you want me?
Sure, I can go.
Go for it.
Depression. I think my personality is naturally pretty sunny and optimistic, but I've been through some hard things like everybody has, and get depressed. I think as I've gotten older, I've learned to embrace sadness sometimes and just know that it's okay. It was almost like this Kobe thing that happened recently. It's okay for everyone to feel bad, and we're going to feel bad. Everyone's going to feel bad. I'm divorced. That was about almost 6 years ago now. It's really hard to try to stay strong for my kids, and even knowing the absolute upside down world that they've been flipped into through that. And then also being sad myself, and trying to lift them up, and knowing just kind of the absolute anguish they were going through, especially my son, because he was older enough to process it. Right? So I took him to therapy and kind of helped him through it. He seems to be in a pretty good spot now.
I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah.
Because of bribery.
Yes.
You bribed him to feel better. He feels a lot better after that Lego set.
I feel bad. Here's 100. I feel better.
Well, see, the thing is that I think we need to differentiate, because yes, bribery is basically your number one tool once they're cognizant of that they can get stuff. My thing is like, okay, if you kind of set a precedent though, like with grades and stuff, that's just expected. The grade thing is what kind of freaks me out, because if it's like, oh no, if you get an A, you get $30 kind of thing. I want to stay away from that, like from ever trying to like make that into some sort of like gain, because in real world, just because you do well on something doesn't mean you're going to get some reward back. I think it sets a weird precedent, especially with grades and stuff like that. But bribery, no, that's all we have.
That's your way of life.
That's our number one thing.
All right, so I'll talk about depression for a sec. Like you, Dave, I'm a pretty eternal optimist on most things. And, even when really hard things are going on, for the most part, I'm able to kind of compartmentalize that and go through it. My wife and I recently went through marriage counseling, just kind of work on some things on our relationship. And that was really the first time I started to... I'm really bad with feelings in general. I don't know if you guys are like that or not, but I
what
just
do you mean
don't,
bad at feelings?
I don't
like
have
you're bad
as
at
many
cricket?
feelings as most people, so I'm just kind of middle of the road.
Wait, so you just say you're
going.
not so you're not as emotional as most people?
Correct, and I don't
think it's a bad thing.
No,
because I'm in this boat, and so
you're in the same boat.
You're not feeling the same way. I'm like, well, I don't have to feel your way. Why? There's other things that I get upset about that you would be like, why are you getting upset about that? I'm not gonna. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't think that you're a bad person because of this.
Thank you.
I do.
No, but that's the thing that they do. It's like, I'm depressed about this, and you should. I don't know, like not feeling the same way somebody else.
I
is.
guess where I was trying to go, and that's fine. We'll kind of combine the topics now because that's what we do at the end of these episodes.
Every time,
I've forgotten about the bribery part.
That's right.
But just the depression thing, like, people have clinical depression, right? Where they need therapy for that, medication for that. Luckily, that has not been the case with me, but I know a few people, and my wife did postpartum depression. A lot of moms go through that. Where am I going with this? I don't know. But I know in those scenarios, I just try to be as supportive as I could, because some people do have an imbalance, and medication or therapy works for that.
Yeah, well, I mean, you said,
taking him to Great Wolf Lodge work.
I think you should take Tom to Great Wolf Lodge.
Take Lucy to Great Wolf Lodge.
I will bribe you.
No
to feel
kids,
better
Great
now.
Wolf Lodge.
Yeah,
surprise.
That's right. I don't know. It's like what you said, kind of compartmentalizing. Like, you're able to stay happy or act happy when things aren't great. So
yeah.
I guess you should be happy for your lack of feelings.
Thank you so much for listening to Life of Dad. Please check us out on Facebook and Instagram at Life of Dad, and of course at lifeofdad.com. And we want more people to listen to the show, so please leave a rating or a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. Thanks for listening. Go Fatherhood.